We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast. Hi, my name is Mark Borsman, and we're with Tony. And Tony,
Good morning, Mark.
it's interesting on how we've been doing, podcasts on a Saturday, and appreciate your story and your insight. We went ahead and last week we were talking about kindness versus niceness, and we went ahead and watched this video. I've never, a number of people have watched this, but I've never seen anybody break it down like you did. And so you've obviously given this a lot of thought. And so I'm going to let you
Yeah,
just take it away on the difference between kindness and niceness. And this will go into a series that we're going to do on this because I think it's significant in business. I think it's significant in friendships and with
very well.
relationships. And so go ahead and jump in and just take it away, Tony.
Yeah, it really is, and I'll tell you, we're following the principles of our son Anthony because Anthony was a kind soul, and he was ahead of the game in terms of any of his friends or any other person because he intentionally did things that were kind to people. He helped people out. So that's why we call our charity Anthony's Way, the Road to Kindness. And so, and what we do is we help families that have kids that have ADHD, children that have ADHD that are struggling, and we bring together a comprehensive care roadmap for those kids and the families. And it's all about keeping the families learning the principles and the tools. So there's intention there. And so being nice is like there's Jay Shetty had up there earlier. I mean, he goes through 4 or 5 points, and if you break them down, it's really about intent. There's an intentional means behind your action, and sometimes that action, what you say may not always be the nice thing to say or the kindest thing to say, but you do it because you want to hold some people accountable. But you want to bring out, what's really going on. You have a higher sense and a deeper intention to really find out more about that person, and you listen intently. You figure out how to help them. Like, for example, if you open the door for someone, right? Opening the door for someone, that's a nice act. That's not necessarily a kind act. We did a session at a school once. We had 600 kids come together, and we asked the kids, what is the difference between nice and kind? And one of the boys raised his hand and said, "Well, it's opening the door for someone." Well, I said, "That's a wonderful act to do, and that's nice to do." But really, being kind means like you're going to go over to an elderly home on a birthday month, and you're going to sing happy birthday to all the elderly people. And then you're going to go and sit and just listen to what those people might have to say. Because how often does the people that are in some of these elderly facilities, how often do people go in and just listen to them and let them talk and share their stories? That's being kind. You're listening intently. You're going over there to be kind,
So
being
why do
kind
you
to them.
think there's such a lack of kindness in today's society? Or let's start
Mm.
off with your history with your mom. You had said like last time you just like how you grew up. Like
Yeah.
you kind of look like a Navy SEAL. You look like a kind of a tough guy. Like you probably bring on the heat,
Yeah.
pretty strong. When
Wow.
needed, you work for Ernest and Young, you're a CPA. So you've got a lot of that. But so let's start off with how you grew up and how your mom
Yeah.
taught you kindness.
Yeah, I'll tell you, my mom and grandmother were great. I mean, so at one point they were the only Italians in this neighborhood. And so obviously being Italian, Sunday was a big day. It was a day to make Saturday and Sunday were days to cook. They were cooking all the time. So and they didn't know a lot of people. So what they would do is they would make lasagna or make a special pasta or these raviolis that were big raviolis, and they would take them to each of the neighborhood families, and they would bring them over, and they would talk to the families. They get to know the people. They understand what's going on in their life. And then that came a way of living for my mom and my grandmother and what they would do. And if it wasn't right, I tell you, if the pasta wasn't right that particular day, we'd eat it. They wouldn't share with anybody else. I mean, they had clear intention to make something that was different and special and give it to the neighborhood families. And when someone was struggling, they were there to help. They always lent a hand in. I could still remember this time when we had a lot of water damage and our water pipes were broken. And my so us being the kids, we had to go out and dig a hole because it was too costly for anybody else. We dug the hole with my dad. We got all that together, and some of the families came over. But then I'll tell you, my grandmother and my mom would make food for everybody that was helping, and that just showed us that, hey, there's a way of giving back to the community. We help each other, and they help us, and that's what kindness is. It's really going the extra length for people. In today's environment, though, think about it. How fast are we moving today? People are moving so fast today. And the environment I grew up, public accounting, you either were on or you weren't on, you were out. I mean, you lived that life. But the one thing that I could still remember, I said, I'm going to be different. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it my way. And my way was like, if I go into a meeting and I start explaining a concept to someone and they don't quite get it, and it's in a book, and I would get up and I would go over and sit with them, and I would intently show them what the concept was and how it made sense in their business. And we won more business by doing that than just sitting across the table and saying they don't get it. You don't get it, and we're gonna make everything better for you. No, I want you to be my partner. I don't want to do this alone. So, and we won tons of business. Our practice was the number one revenue generating a part of Ernst and Young at one time. So, just different ways to approach things. And if you have a kind heart, you're going to go a lot farther in life. Not and niceness is the start. Being nice is the start of it, but the next step is being kind, and that's what makes the difference.
See,
So,
it's interesting. It's interesting, Tony, because Tom Coons, you guys will hear a lot about Tom on this podcast. He and I have known each other for decades. And I asked him once, what's the most significant thing that he has about like his parents and what his dad taught him when he owned a service station and he's like 9 years old and
yeah,
look at things from the customer's perspective.
that's
Or
right.
his grandfather and his dad, when they would take him every Saturday to breakfast with a bunch of older guys and they get together and they'd meet and they'd talk. And I asked him about his mom, and his mom was like your mom, I
Yeah,
think, because he said, like, my mom taught me to always look at the disadvantage, the one that's getting picked on, the one that doesn't. And it's
yeah.
your responsibility, Tom, to help the person who's disadvantaged.
That's right. That's right.
And
So
so,
right. Yeah, he's spot on. He's a wonderful one plays a wonderful he's a wonderful person to demonstrate what kindness really is.
and
I love
so
what you told me. Yeah.
you're a business owner. I'd encourage you, as a business owner, I'd encourage you to make this podcast available to all your employees.
Yeah.
And then, I've been thinking about this. Like I slept on it last night, woke up this morning, had all these ideas, and it's like, you know, on there's $5. So talk about, the $5 and what that goes for. I mean,
Oh
when you
yeah, for
think as a
us. Yeah.
business owner, you put tens of thousands of dollars into developing your employees, which you should. And then, but the employees, and so I thought, should a business go ahead and do the $5 for the employees? And I'm like, yeah, sure, it's $5. But then the employees should do it too, because when you invest into yourself, like I paid for my own college education, because I
Yeah.
paid for my own college education, I got more value out of it. And so it's like, well,
Yeah.
your employees you could give $5, it's $5 for crying out loud. And then it's $5 the employee could give because it's really impacting, other people. So talk about
Yeah.
what that $5 goes for, Tony.
Well, kindness first off is a ripple effect. If you're kind, so if you help your employees out, and they're going to help them to grow. You're going to get a better employee in most cases. So what we're doing right now is we're raising money to help kids and kids with ADHD. We walk alongside families that have kids that struggle, and we want to be there to help them and guide them so they become part of our family, and we give grants out. So what we've done is we hit a wall a little bit last year that we didn't. people don't view ADHD as a serious social issue, and that's a real challenge for us. And so we did 9 grants last year. We didn't win one. So we said we got to approach this a little differently. So we met with our marketing team and I said, let's look at this a little differently. Let's look and say, what if we took our orange heart of kindness? So we have an orange heart, which is our logo, our icon, and orange stands for unity and togetherness. And I said, let's bring people together. Let's bring people together just for $5. So if we created a virtual heart of kindness and it's out on a virtual web app that we created, and you can buy a heart for $5. And what that you can write something kind on that heart. You could offer it up for somebody. You could give a blessing to someone, and you could share that heart on your social media pages, or you can also buy them for your employees. And we'll create a wall for your organization. And we just met with a group the other day that said we want a wall, so we set them a link up. And now he's gonna be the first person. He's gonna put $1,000 in. He's gonna buy. So that gets him $5 a heart, and then he's gonna share those hearts with his whole team. And he has thousands of employees across the country. So, and that's the ripple effect. He's starting it, and the ripple effect is then every person that he's connected with will hopefully buy a heart too. And all it is $5. Our goal is 1 million orange hearts of kindness. So 1
Right.
million times five is $5 million. We could help hundreds and hundreds of kids that are struggling with ADHD. We could give them the roadmap to help them to thrive. And at the same time, we're giving the tools to families that can help them, because it's not just the child that struggles, it's the whole family that struggles when someone has ADHD. They don't know how to deal with their son or daughter, and really we want to bring that together, and their brother and sister. So we want to make sure that everybody knows how to deal with that, and that's what our goal is. And we're the only charity that has created a pure holistic roadmap to help families, and no one else has done this. And we have it all identified, and we're doing free virtual podcasts, or summits for ADHD in July. So thanks, Mark, for bringing that out. I mean, I appreciate you, yeah, very much for that.
Well, and this is, there's a concept, there's a white paper. So I've been blessed to be an international speaker and author. I've written 16 books. I'm writing 17 and 18 right now. Written over 100 white papers, and one of them is WIFM. It's, what's in it for me? It's the concept of selfless selfishness.
Yeah,
And so, I'm on the spectrum, without question. It's weird. So I'm looking to learn a lot because I don't know how nice I am, but I think I'm kind. Like if you go ahead, like Rosanna, so Rosanna and I have been married for 41 years. We have 7 kids. We have 11 grandkids, another one on the way. And
God
so,
bless.
without question, if you ask anybody in our life, who's nicer, people would say Rosanna's nicer, and they wouldn't be wrong. Um, Kindness, though, that's probably why it resonates so much with me, because the kids, even when they were little, they'd say, if you want to feel good, if you want to feel good, go to mom. If you want to fix something, go to dad. Because but they didn't call it kindness back then. They didn't say dad's really kind. It's just dad's mean. Well, no, sweetheart, I'm telling you, this is how life works. And so Tom and I,
Wow.
and there's going to be a lot of resources for business owners out there and for employees out there. We're going to connect all of this together through Life Masteries Institute, and a number of other things that we've got going. So it's going to be quite an enterprise. But Tom, one Thanksgiving, he and I were talking, and I said, "What's your biggest challenge?" And you had said in your notes, and we'll put your notes, here too. Somehow we'll get that on here, because I think that's good for people to go through and go, "Huh, that's
Yeah.
interesting." And so I asked Tom what his biggest challenge was, and he said, "Patience." He said, I'm not patient." And I said, "Well, actually, Tom, yeah, you don't need patience." He says, "No, I really do." I said, "No, you don't." So we discussed it back and forth, argued back and forth. And finally he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "What you need, Tom, is a system so the people around you will be less patient with themselves."
Mm.
He just
Yeah.
has this heart where he can see
Yeah.
people's potential. And so it's weird when I'm nice to people, people like me and they think I care, but I really don't. I mean, I see, because of either God's gifts or my occupation or what I've done or something, my personality, I can see people's weaknesses instantly. Like I just
Yeah.
say hi to them and I get their personality and I say, okay, and I want to help them. I want to help them. And so often when people think I'm nice, I'm like, I care for them. I really don't. And when they think I don't care for them, I really do. And so, Tom, he sees my heart.
Yeah, but you see, you have a warm heart though. So if you think about this, if you go through the Jay Shetty short points there, number one, it's honesty. Okay, honesty is kindness because you're being honest with someone. So you have a way of being honest. It's you hold people accountable. Accountability is also, those are those that no one captures those in the kindness realm. But Jay Shetty's did, and honesty, kindness, being open, and knowing when to walk away too. So, one of his last points was, sometimes if you're in it, like sometimes you don't want to be in it, and you need to move on. And so that can show kindness too, because if you think about family, we all love our family, we all care for our family, but that doesn't necessarily mean we could always be with our family all the time.
Right.
And sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves and say, I don't want these negative things coming into my life. I want to fill them with positive things. And if I keep on hearing negative, I get drawn down. And I'm a person that I need to be. I'm always on. I feel like I have a good day. I mean, we lost our son. I mean, it was the worst day of my life and worst day for you folks too. Um, but we took a step forward and we decided to move on, and it's how we move on, and it's how we help people through being kind. And I mean, we don't need any more money in our lives. It's now about, we cover all the expenses for our charity, and all the money that we raise we give back, and that's just our way of being kind to families that don't have the funds to help their children.
Right.
And it's about putting the right people into your life. There's no coincidences. You may have heard that statement. There's no
Right.
coincidences. Like, people come to you for a reason, and they come into your life for a reason. So we connected for a reason. There's a reason why we
Right.
connected, and there's a reason why everybody connects. And connection is critical when in the kindness realm, you want to connect with people. And if you take a few minutes, so Tom's point on, he wants to be patient. I mean, he built a wonderful Century 21, real estate practice. I mean, so um, he might not have been as patient with others as others might want him to be, but that's what he struggled with. And sometimes I struggle with the same thing too. I'm not as patient. I don't give as much. And when I was in the workplace, when I was a partner and I was buying and selling companies, I had no patience. I wanted things to happen quickly. So we don't see change happen, Mark, and that's what bothers us, right? Sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I think, yeah, the thing is that we'll pick this up. And he said, I said, what you need, Tom, is a system.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, yeah, okay. And he said, can you do that? So on that Thanksgiving, what I did is I built him a system, and it's a white paper on patience, the silent killer. And so it's like you can see the future. And in business, it's like a child is in the middle of the road. They're going to get hit, and so you're going to do everything you can. And so in business, you see it's brutal. I mean,
Yeah, it
so you
is.
see, if people don't have certain things, if they don't make certain choices, they are going to go ahead and get hurt. So I think that as a business owner, you're going to be like, huh, this is like this. Whatever you give, you will get back 100, a
That's right.
thousand times.
Yeah.
And so we're excited to go into this and the series and everything. So thank you so much for Tony for
Thank
sharing.
you,
If you
Mark.
if
Yeah.
you're watching this, and pass it along to others, because it'll change your business, it'll change your marriage, it'll change your kids. Like it, there, it's I've not seen anything like this out there. So if you have any questions, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300 outside the US 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye bye.